Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Picone, your host of the Awakened and Ready Global Summit, your roadmap for accelerated living during our current global consciousness shift. Today, we have a very special guest for you, Susan Shatzer. Susan is a health professional, 7-time #1 best-selling author, and international consciousness facilitator who works with both you and your body to unlock your limitless life. Her mission is to help others break free because everyone deserves a limitless life. Being featured on national TV and multiple radio shows has allowed Susan to share her message and positively influence many individuals. Please give a warm welcome to Susan Shatzer. Hi, Susan. How are you today?
Hi, Mike. How are you? I am fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. That was a very warm invitation. Thank you.
You're welcome, and very nice to have you. So amazing times we're living in, huh?
Yes, it is. 2018. It is great.
2017 was a pretty good one for me, and 2018, it's just going to blow that away, I know.
Yeah, we're only in the first month, and dynamic changes have already taken place for people.
Yeah. So what's your view of our current global consciousness shift?
I'm very excited about it. I have this knowing that it has been coming along, and it's speeding up as we move along even further. One of my favorite parts about facilitating consciousness is where people actually wake up and they feel empowered, where they weren't empowered before this. And when someone gets the empowerment of having choice and realizing that they're not locked and they're not stuck in that loop of limitations that they have, it is this aha moment that a lot of people get. And it's kind of like, hey, I don't have to keep doing this. And I don't have to keep doing this way. And there is a change. There is a change. It's possible. There is a change, and it's with ease. And just incredible amounts of shifting and changing are taking place, across the board. It's not just here in the States or just in the East or the West, all over the place. Everyone is sort of waking up to the question of, is this really working for me anymore?
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it's not. I mean, for all of us, it's really not, but just to be conscious of that,
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And literally people right now, Mike, are sort of, getting to the point where why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? Why am I being this? Why do I feel obligated to this? Why is this my responsibility? And more people are actually choosing for themselves what works for them. And I know you're freshly back here to the States from being over in Thailand, and you felt a shift and a change from different locations here and there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, huge. I was lucky enough I was hanging out with a lot of conscious people over in Thailand. I lived on a little island where it was like, a third of it was like yoga spiritual, and the rest of it was party. But like the yoga spiritual side, it was a very special place like that. And I hung out within yoga communities, and they had Vipassana centers and stuff like that. So, I had a lot of conscious friends, but it was still, I came back in 2016, and it was just like the start of it all, but in the last couple years since then, especially 2017 on, it seems like it's like the exponential growth is just happening like really, really quick.
Yeah, it's literally an astronomical shift that's taking place. The transparency that's showing up with our political field, with our monetary realm, with our personal beings, our bodies themselves, like dynamic shifts and change in our medical field.
Yeah.
We're learning about, different concepts and topics and ideas and research that, has never been allowed to come out and to surface and be available for people. And now it is. And it's such an exciting time to be on the planet because, we've come so far from, 100 years ago when, we were first developing the wheel and the car and the train and the plane and that kind of thing to where we are today. Like literally we have new iPhones like every 18 months. Our technology is growing so quickly, and so is the awareness of what's possible here. I can remember when scientists said it's not physically possible to run the 1 mile, the 7-minute mile. Like it's not physically possible for the body. until somebody did it.
Yeah, until somebody did it. Yeah.
And then it was possible. And now a lot of other people have done it. So that was the start of it then. And now we're having it over and over again. You can look at the Olympics. You know, every Olympic season, new people are breaking records. Like, it's unheard of, the amount of things, even with our political president, like Donald Trump. You know, it was an epic, you know, like no other president previous to him had created the kind of dynamic outcome with the amount of states and electoral votes that he had ever in the history of our country.
Yeah, you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about all these sealed indictments, to find out, like, when all the names come out and like how high up the food chain it goes and all that. I think that's going to be some really interesting information coming out. And it really is. And like you said, with the monetary, like, I just started in cryptocurrencies a couple months ago, and I just like the whole basis behind it, how it's taking money away from the banking system and the elite, keeping it in the economy. Instead of them making money off of us, we're making the money off of them, you know? And it's like, it's just that whole shift in dynamic. It's wonderful to me. I love it.
Yeah, I actually heard that an AI created the cryptocurrency.
I could see that. I really could, because the whole blockchain thing, it's like, it's even hard to kind of like wrap my head around it. I don't know that much about it. I don't really care to, but it's like, it's extremely interesting how it works. You know, it really is. And yeah, I think it's going to definitely be the thing of the future for sure. I mean, there's over 300 of them right now.
Yes. Yes.
Are you involved in them at all?
No.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of takes up a little too time, because you're just like, you know, I step back. Like, I did what I did. I like all the like long-term ones. I just buy it and get out of there. But I can see it being a huge thing, because I mean, you know, honestly, our system's it's collapsing. There's no doubt about it, from the inside out. So, you know, instead of everybody panicking about it, I think it's going to financially shift over that way. So we already have a solution that way, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. I was reading an article recently about some of the people who are extremely wealthy here in the United States, and they were sharing their documents, their tax files or bank statements and whatnot, and they were showing how the tax system is set up in their favor and how they are qualifying for tax relief that the medium class, the middle class, like, and the lower class don't qualify for. So we're actually getting taxed like an astronomical amount more, and we make less than they do. So it's set up to keep them there.
Oh,
and
sure.
Set up to keep us here.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see that come out in a media platform.
Sure. Wow, that's interesting that somebody did that. Yeah, I mean, systematically, they're basically wiping out the middle class, but all that's going to be changing really, you know, in the near future as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like people are waking up going, wait a minute, like, this doesn't actually work for me anymore. Like,
yeah.
And they're asking questions, which is like part of empowerment.
Sure.
Because so long, Mike, we've been going to conclusions or judgments or calculations or computations or deciding things are a certain way, when actually they may not be like that. But because we've decided that it is that way, then nothing else is able to show up for us. And
because nobody was pushing the buttons. Nobody was like getting pissed off, you know, and now all this stuff is coming up and everybody is getting upset and they're doing something about it. And now avenues are created where there are solutions, like for all of it, you know. I mean, free energy solutions, that's going to be huge in the near future. Like the Tesla car, like I definitely want one of those. That is an amazing thing. We have a Tesla solar plant that just, I'm not exactly sure when it opened because I didn't live here, but it's like 4 square blocks. And it's amazing. So we're like, my city's like on the uprise, and a lot of new stuff came in since I left. So that's pretty neat to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to sit with 2 Tesla coils at either end, one at my head and one at my feet. Yeah. And you literally could feel the vibrational frequency like resonating all the way through your entire body. It was amazing. And I had all my crystals and stones around me and they were all getting energized. It was a dynamic experience.
Wow. So what do? Do they set it like certain frequencies?
Yeah, you walk in and you talk about, you know, what it is, you know, sleep, eating,
Okay.
money, whatever it happens to be for you, and they can regulate the frequencies in the Tesla field.
Wow, that has to really penetrate your being for sure.
Yeah, and these lights come on, like it generates free electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, you gotta keep your cell phones and watches, like anything electronic, like out of the field.
for sure.
But yeah, it was pretty potent, pretty powerful. I stood up and I was like, yeah, anything's possible. It's like an entirely new place and space to be in. It
Yeah.
really,
Yeah, he got the raw end of the deal. I live 14 miles away from Niagara Falls. So
wow.
in 1896 is when him and Thomas Edison basically, developed and made a hydroelectric power plant in Niagara Falls. And it's pretty amazing what he did. And then and at least now he's getting credit for it, And then all the patents are free now for him, which is amazing too. That's going to be huge.
Everything is changing, my friend, everything. Like, this is your year, 2018. This is your time. This is your day. This is your moment. Everything changed. Absolutely everything. And you have total control over all of it, which is what I love, because I felt as though, I was out of control and I didn't have control and things were happening to me. And when I actually realized that, hey, my point of view was creating this reality, I got a whole lot clearer, Mike, on what my point of view was. And that changed my reality.
Yeah. And all we have to do is focus on exactly what we want and stop focusing on what we don't want. And, everybody is quickly catching on to that. They really are. And I think all this stuff, I believe, like even the system breaking down and all that stuff, it's because everybody's consciousness is raising. It's not everybody's consciousness raising because the system is breaking down,
Yes, we are contributing to it. We're kind of like standing up and saying, hey, it doesn't work for us anymore. This isn't the way we'd like things to go. We would like a completely different reality. And let's get this party started.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
No, it is happening. And all it takes, everybody thinks I'm only one person, like what can I do? But when people realize that nobody has more power than anybody else and that we all have that divine essence and that all we have to do is come inside and unplug from this matrix and unplug from the illusion and raise our own vibration, that's what you can do. That's where all the magic is individually. And then it's like taking all this light that's coming in for the higher dimensions, anchoring it into the earth, spreading it out to everybody else. So yeah, once people realize that and they truly, truly believe it, that's what's making this happen. And it's like still, it's happening, but I can't wait to see like another year or two because it's just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. So the exponential growth and speed of it all is just fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how you say that with the higher vibrational frequencies coming in, because literally that's what's energizing us.
Yeah.
We're not as depleted as we used to be. And it's really giving us even more power. And, one of the things that was really key, Mike, in what you were talking about was that exponentially, like we're all together. Yeah, there is no separation. And scientists have shown that the amount of energy that's here right now in the universe is the same amount of energy that was here when the universe was first created. That they can't create it or destroy it, that it just transforms. So like right now, you and I are energy, with a body, and then until we're not, then we're energy without a body, but we're all still energy. So we've been here for the life of the universe.
Sure.
And some people say it's a couple billion years, and some scientists say it's a couple trillion years, but we've been here for quite some time. And so each time and place and space we've been has all been an unlocking process. Now is where we've unlocked to the core almost, if you look at it that way. Mm-hmm. And every time you're willing to give up something, you're able to give up a limitation, you're able to give up a point of view or a thought or a feeling or an emotion or something that's low vibrational energy, you unlock, Mike. Everyone unlocks it for everybody else that was helping them hold it in place. So just you being the brave one person soul of giving up the things that are limiting you and locking you in, you're actually freeing up everybody else. And so when you're talking about how it's, astronomically like exponentializing the consciousness, it is that is what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, every single time we choose love over fear, You know, we're literally taking a fragment of our soul back and empowering us, and like you said, everybody else too. And it's just all that little things are just adding up, but they're really not little. It's just shifting the way we see things, shifting the way we feel, shifting our belief systems, rising above all these like control factors and these belief systems that just weren't true. You know?
Yes. In fact, our school systems are catching up, I might like to say. They're still a little antiquated. I have a 15-year-old and he is virtual schooled. The regular school system could not keep up. He's been in private, charter, magnet, public, and now he's virtual school. And, you know, he skipped second grade. I mean, he's just brilliant. And, you know, in his free time, he taught himself to write code.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
Right? So he now writes code for these CEOs of these huge companies who have like multi-million followers and friends and people and likes and email lists. And he's like, yeah, you know, because they would put something out, hey, I wish I could do this. And he just goes and writes the code for it. He sends it to him and he's like, hey, why don't you try that? And they do. And then he gets it out to those millions of people. And, you know, he's just, you know, something else.
Well, yeah, I mean, the kids coming in today, they're coming in without the veil, right?
Yes, they have a lot less filters than what we had. And with each generation, like I'm more aware than my parents, and my parents were more aware than their parents. And so we've been on this cycle, and our kids that are coming in are even more aware than we are.
Yeah.
And do you know about the 2-year-old thing with when you're 2? Did I ever tell you about that, Mike?
No. I'm definitely curious.
So this is so cute. So when you know a 2-year-old, right? Or you've had a 2-year-old, but you know, what's the question they ask all the time when they're 2?
When they're 2, I don't have children, but I thought everything is, well, why?
Yes, that's the question.
Yeah.
Why? Do you know why they ask why?
No.
Would you like to know?
I would love to.
So at 2, our kids do not have the filters yet in place.
Okay.
At 2, they're asking us these why questions because they wonder why we're picking the insanity, the limitation of our life. It's kind of like, why can't I wear my Spider-Man outfit to school?
Yeah.
How come? Why can't I wear my princess dress to church? Why can't I have ice cream first? Right before dinner. It's like they know that there's a different possibility available. They know that play and joy and fun is part of the creation process.
Sure. They
also know that the whole picking up after you're done playing thing, like, isn't always part of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do move quickly from project to project to project, like, what if that is for them manifestation? And where we had given all of that up, you know, we were told, okay, you're of this age, you got to get serious, you got to get a job, you got to straighten up and fly right, and you have to find the answer. It has to be the right answer. It has to be a good answer. Have you figured it out yet? You know, it's all of that we invoke and perpetrate them on it too. And they keep asking us, and what we get to a point where we're like, because I said so.
Yeah. I have no idea. That's fascinating. It really is. And then we do nothing but like kind of shut them down with our answers then, I guess, right?
Yes, that's what we do. We shut them down. And it's up until 2 that the kids have the awareness that we aren't willing to have because we've been collapsed in on it. So we've cut ourselves off and folded and stapled and pasted ourselves into a box, and it's these filters. And so when you decide and you believe and you're not asking a question, let me just put it that way. If you're not asking a question, you're not actually empowering an awareness to show up. You're going to conclusion about something. And so at 2, that's why they ask all these questions all the time, because they're always looking for empowerment.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So the virtual schools, what's that all about? I mean, your son just takes all school online?
Yes. So he was in advanced and then honors and then a Cambridge program. So he went, he is still in like the top bracket of education. So he's a sophomore right now. He'll be a junior next year, and he'll have all of his requirements done. So he's going to do dual enrollment. So he'll be enrolled in high school and in college next year as a junior.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's he's just gets it. You know, he just gets that stuff. It's easier for him on a computer. It's not easy for him writing a book. And, you know, I used to be a first grade school teacher, Mike. I mean, I can tell you what it was like. I mean, I had the point of view that homework was done at home, at the table, feet on the floor, book on the side, good lighting, snack, pencil, and this is how you do it. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't having it. He was not having that. Okay. So I would go do my thing. I'd turn around. He'd be on the couch, upside down, with the book, with his feet in the air. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm doing my homework. It was like one of those things. Right. And so we would be bucking the system back and forth, like, get over here, sit down, push your chair in, get busy, stay focused. Well, that's not how this generation focuses. Like, yeah. He literally has to have many different things going on, many different stimulations going on for him to be able to focus on what he's working on. And to me, it just blows me away because I'm like a, you know, quiet, turn everything off to get focused. Yeah. So with him, one day I was watching him and he was watching TV. He had a book in his lap and he was writing things in the book, and he had his phone in his ear and he was talking to his dad on the phone. And I just sat there and watched him watch TV. Work and talk on the phone. And when he got done with everything, I was like, wait a minute. I go, were you doing all three of those things? He says, yeah, I sure was, Mom. I was like, okay. So I started asking him questions about what was on TV. And you know, he knew it. He could answer my questions. Like, he had the content. And I said, what are you doing in your book? He says, math problems. I was like, okay, so let me see. I looked at it. He was getting them right. So I asked him questions about his conversation with his dad, and he got it right. And I'm like, who are you? So now, right, he has 2 video monitors, right? He has 2 things going at once. He has earphones in his ear, has a whole set of earphones, and he has music playing or a YouTube that he's listening to, and he has a phone in front of him, and he's playing a game on his phone. And he's doing it all at the same time.
That's amazing.
And I just have to back away and go, you know, what if our kids know, and what if we know what works for us? And what if it's not what everybody else thinks should work?
Yeah, I mean, how are we to know if that's what's working for them? Let them be creative and let them do whatever they want, right? If it's working. I mean, put it to the test. If they pass that test, then have at it.
Exactly. And, you know, for him, it's like, you know, he is already aware of like when he works better, like when he's sharper. And it's not first thing in the morning that we're all taught, where breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Like, yeah, not so much. So he may even still be sleeping right now. I'm not sure. And it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I don't have a point of view about it because he'll work when his body, you know, is in motion. It's the best time for him to do his schoolwork. And a lot of times it is at night. And, you know, we kind of have our own, but just, you know, being a mom, to be able to allow him to have the space to be him, you know, is so huge. It's such a gift to be able to step back and go, you know, maybe my way is not the right way.
Sure. Yeah, I think in the future, all these kids coming up in this era are going to be teaching the parents a lot. Yes.
And I tell you, I have a dynamic team that I work with, and they're interns. They are all interns. And I tell them they're the best team. And when I was interviewing to build my team for the different channel networks that I'm developing, I interviewed people who had been in business for 20 and 30 years, you know, top of the line. These were like big game players. They had the name brand. And they wanted to stick me into a mold that they already had. And this mold was to be, you hear that?
No, I can't.
Okay. So there's construction going on outside my house, and there's this horn that just went off, and I was like, oh, this is great. Hey, it's contributing to the...
Sure. I just had an airplane. Could you hear that?
No. But we're tuning into it. Yeah, so they were like, yep, for this price, you know, we'll put it in, and they were going to cookie cutter mold, you
Sure.
know, my videos and things. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for cutting edge, brand new, sharp, fresh, new, you know, new. These are new things. This is epic where this is going. And I put it out to the internships, and these interns, oh my goodness, they're like phenomenal. They go beyond. They're like, yep, I can do that. Yep, I'll figure out that way. Yep, we can do that. Yeah, what if we do this? I think this would be great. Just the imagination, the creativity that shows up from them is huge. It is huge. It's beyond. It's like, wow, I would have never thought of that. Let's do it. And they're bringing that in, and they're infusing that into the concept of unlocking your limitless life. And you know, that's the tagline with my website. And you know, literally everyone can have a limitless life. It's just when we let go of all of these limits that we've had for so long. And it's just the things that we picked up from our parents, who picked up from their parents, Mike, who picked up from their parents. And now we're sort of in a place of, you know, hey, why? We're starting to be like the 2-year-olds asking why, like,
no, we can ask that.
why are we saying that? What?
Why do we keep on having to do this? No.
Yes, yeah, right? As we start to let go of those filters, we're starting to ask the question of why.
No, and this is the perfect era for that. You see everybody doing it around us.
Yes, and we're starting to choose for us.
Yeah.
Before, you had to choose, Mike, for the responsibility and the obligation, like you were obligated and you were responsible for. And so you must, you have to, you should, you know, who is going to say this and who's going to think that, and you're this person and you're that person, you have to show up. And we're kind of like, you know what? Well, all of that doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
And we're starting to choose for ourselves what works for us. And when we do that, we free up everybody else. So everybody else can be them too and choose for them. Like when we hold ourselves in a role and a responsibility and an obligation, then they have to hold themselves in a role with responsibility and obligation. And so I see a lot of that breaking free also. And as we choose for ourselves, we have a whole lot greater ease, and there's a whole lot more kindness to our bodies too.
Yeah, because if you're allowed to express yourself and be innovative and creative and all that, and not like, you know, everybody has all these good ideas, but if you're not allowed to express them, then you got resentment, you don't want to go to your job, you got all this stuff that it's just like, why can't they let me be me? And then, you know, young people growing up say, well, they're old, they don't know anything, they're stuck in their same old thing. We got a better way, and right.
Yeah, it's like they're defending for well, you have your point of view that you're defending for because you're right, because you know, because you're the parent, because you're the boss, because you're older. And they're defending against your point of view. So you keep showing up like this, and when you are able to let that go, like there's just this free flow.
Sure.
And there's more consciousness because you can actually receive more when you're not defending for and against, which brings up barriers and walls. It prevents you from receiving. So, you know, be brave. You can do this. You know, let go of the limitations. Step into your power and potency. Own it. Know what you know that you know.
Yeah, I was lucky enough growing up where I didn't have to deal with any of that. I was kind of a rebel and basically been my own boss in one aspect or another. I haven't had a boss since I was 21 years old. So in the last 28 years, I just basically figured it out, had multiple different businesses, and I just wanted to, you know, I started traveling when I was 28, and the last 14 out of 20 years I traveled full time. And so I was lucky enough to do that. But, you know, a lot of hard times in there. You know, I wasn't thinking too much of security and for the future and all that, but I did exactly what I wanted to do, and I didn't regret any of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, your point of view was creating your reality.
Yeah.
You know, you knew that having a boss wasn't going to work for you.
Yeah.
You know, and living in the States was not going to be a contribution to you.
Yeah.
So you left and you created your own business environment. You created your own space. You created your own landing place in a different location. And that's where you got to be you. You couldn't have done that here in the States.
No, not at all. Because you can, like, where I was living, like my health went to shit basically when I was like 40 or 41 years old. I had arthritis in both my hands. You know, my party lifestyle eventually caught up with me. So then what did I do for business? I learned how to heal myself. So I opened up a cafe I made kombucha, and I had grew wheatgrass and had tea. So I had a cafe for the yogis, and then I got into like colloidal minerals, and then I made that a business. Anything I was doing to fix myself, I just spread it out to all the healing centers and yoga schools and all that stuff. And it just kind of continued along that line. But it was always stuff I was interested in to fix myself, and then just shared it with everybody. And it worked out very well, you know? I mean, I wasn't getting rich or anything, but I was getting by, and I was living in a little tropical paradise. And that's all I really want, you know?
Yeah, that's what you were asking for, and that's what you were receiving. Now, did you say weed grass? Like
wheatgrass. Wheatgrass? I say D's instead of T's. You know wheatgrass, like wheatgrass juice?
Oh, right, yeah. Aren't you just clarifying?
I don't know if they have that wheatgrass juice. Probably it will be coming out soon in California.
Oh, like, hey, who would like to be the inventor of that?
So where do you see this all going? Like, what do you foresee in the next couple of years?
Wow, I foresee a huge amount of shifting and changing. I foresee the jobs that we currently have, like, no longer being in existence that have us locked into things. I foresee that the jobs that our kids are being educated for, like, aren't actually going to exist. Like, they've already projected that my son's class, he graduates high school and gets his associates in college in 2020. Like, there's not actually a job description yet. Like, his job doesn't exist. So the educational system doesn't actually have the educational component. So he's teaching himself on the spot, like with his research and his own thing, because those are the things that interest him. So he's taking the biology, the Spanish, the geometry, the English, because those are the prerequisites. And so that's what's required in order to get into college. Is these certain things. And then in college, it's these certain things. And then, you know, back when you and I, because we're about the same age, when we were graduating college, it was like you had to have that degree. It was required. It was the prerequisite to getting a job. Like, no one would even look at us if we didn't have a degree. And that's not so much now with this generation, with our kids. Like, it's not the degree anymore. It's the creativity. It's the knowingness. It's your talents and abilities and capacities. Your kids are actually getting rewarded for that. Whereas it's not what's on paper.
So is he like allowed, you said he does his own research and stuff. So are they like allowed to not make up their own courses, but like something like that? Like, what do they do he chooses his own electives, but like if he does his own research, so what is that? Is that for a specific course or his own thing?
Yeah, he's doing this for his own thing, for his own love. He's, you know, he's a live streamer, he's a YouTuber, he's a Discord moderator, so he's like gone outside the box of what we have. And I'm so grateful because when he got his email address, I connected it with mine. So all the stuff that he's doing, I'm seeing.
Oh, you get to watch everything. Oh, that's gotta be, pretty cool.
That's a parent thing.
Sure, no, I understand completely.
But it's huge because he has these organizational things that come in the mail. I'm like, hey, what's this? And he's like, oh, Mom, you should like check this out because this will blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, cool, thanks. All right. So I'm learning, you know, through him as well. And, you know, his eye-hand coordination, oh my goodness. You know, he's a lefty. And, you know, when he started playing the like coach pitch and T-ball, he was a switch hitter.
Yeah.
So he could bat left and bat right. His strength was less, so they put him on first base so he could, you know, catch that, the ball. And he was just so dynamic because all of his coaches were righties. So all of his coaches, Mike, were teaching everything right. And he had to, at the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, you know, age, he had to switch it around, change it and create it to be dynamic and functioning for the left side. I mean, his coaches had no idea how to teach him. Like, they just didn't. He had to figure that out. And the same thing when he moved to basketball. His coaches were all righties. So they were always showing the right way of doing it, and he was left. So he was, you know, in his own mind, and he's growing. And so he's got the, you know, coordination thing. And yeah, so I have just been able to watch him as he's grown through athletics and education, and he literally finds a way. You know, he figures it out on his own. And just to see those wheels processing, I kind of sit back and I'm like, who are you again?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm left-handed too. It's weird. Me and my brother are both left-handed, and no one else, none of my parents or grandparents are left-handed, no.
There is something with the left-handedness thing, and he is so aware, like uber aware, and like a manifester of magnitude, like beyond what I ever, you know, have seen or witnessed or been a part of. I'm kind of like, holy cow.
So did that just come, like, did his consciousness just basically come natural?
Yeah, he showed up with it.
Okay, so he didn't have to read all kinds of books and like you know, like I had to, and well, for me it was a lot of psychedelic drugs back in the day, but that was the initial frame of reference, and then I got into all these books and figured everything out, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, he came in, and I remember one day I was having this like emotional like breakdown day, right? And you know, I'm just really looking for, like, I'm a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his dad like walked, you know, before he was 2, and you know, everything landed, you know, when you're a single parent, you know, on you. And I was just having one of those days kind of thing. And he just looks at me, he goes, Mom, he's like, who are you being? I'm like, what? You're supposed to say, how can I help you? And, you know, it'll be okay. And you'll be all right. And I love you. And you're strong. And you're going to do this. And you'll make it. Not, who are you being?
And how old is he?
Like 9.
Yes.
He's like, who are you being? And I'm like, what? But he asked me a question, and it stopped me dead. It stopped me dead. And I was like, who am I being? Oh, I think I'm being, yeah, that family member.
Yeah.
So I learned it from a family member, picked it up, yeah, and have been running it in my life ever since, that program. And when he asked me that, I was like, who are you? Like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really dynamic.
So he was able to have you turn around and take a look at yourself, basically.
Yes. You know, like, and it's not like he came up to even like, I'll give you a hug, Mom, you know, nothing. He's like, Mom, who are you being? You know, like disgusted with me. Like, what are you doing? Like, how much time are you wasting with this? Like, you could be happy and having fun. Who are you being? And I'm like, who are you?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, we're running out of time. Could you tell our audience about the free gift you have for us?
Absolutely, I would love to. So I started to look this year at what would create the greatest change for myself, my life, my clients, you know, people around the world, and gratitude happens to be one of the top things.
Mm-hmm.
So gratitude, Mike, is one of the highest vibrational frequencies we have on the planet right now. And when someone's in gratitude, when they have gratitude, they can't also be in anger.
Yeah.
And when they're in gratitude, they also can't have judgment. So the more we can be in gratitude and have gratitude in our lives, the easier our lives are going to be, the less we're going to have to defend for and against, the less we're going to have to show up in those roles and stories that we have running. And it's literally going to be one of the keys that unlocks your limitless life. Yeah. So I've put together 13 hours of epic transformations with gratitude, and it'll be a bi-weekly email that they get. It is going to be an audio for them. It'll be some lists and checklists and paragraphs on the different aspects of gratitude, because gratitude is not always what we think it is. Mm-hmm. And with that, they're going to just have a phenomenal time because they're going to be encouraged to listen to it on low volume when they sleep at night. And when they're at work or working out, whatever, have it on low volume so they don't actually hear what's being said, but they know something's happening in the background. Because the target is to go to the unconscious mind to unlock the things that we're not aware of.
Wow, 13 hours, that's amazing.
13 hours for your group, just your people.
Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody will really, really appreciate that. I go to bed many times. I sleep to like, different videos or different audiobooks and all that stuff, like a lot. I really enjoy that. It helps me just go to sleep properly and wake up, dream amazing, wake up feeling fresh. And I just feel like I'm doing my inner work while I'm sleeping as well, besides getting recharged.
Yeah, because anytime we're trying to figure something out, we're in our heads.
Yeah.
We can only figure out and think of what we know. Well, the universe has access, our source, God, has access to the infinite possibilities that we're not even aware of. And so when we step into gratitude, we actually are opening up and we're asking for more of that to show up. And gratitude is a higher vibrational frequency. And, here on the planet, like attracts like. So the more you're staying in anger, rage, fury, hate, all that judgment kind of stuff, you're attracting lower vibrational experiences, lower vibrational income, lower vibrational relationships. And when you start to level up, it's like an upgrade for yourself and your body, and you're functioning more and more with gratitude, then you actually invite in and are able to receive higher vibrational experiences, relationships, income streams. And it's a dynamic process, and you don't have to do anything. You just turn it on when you go to bed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Thanks everyone for being here and joining us at the Awakened and Ready Global Summit. Thank you again, Susan. It was wonderful to have you. You can access Susan's free gift via the experts page and the daily emails. And my name is Mike Picone, your host, saying goodbye for now, and stay tuned for more amazing interviews. Goodbye.